I know firsthand for me, I would be lost without my academic advisor. And when I first transferred here, I didn't have one, and it was very confusing, the whole registration process and everything else. So how do I go about getting an academic advisor if I don't have one?
Yeah, your academic advisor plays a critical role in your success as a student, and so typically students are assigned an academic advisor when they come in their first year. Many times that person is made known to the student at orientation, and if not then, certainly during that first week of the academic year. Many departments will meet with the students that first week of the semester, and so the students will have a chance to meet their advisor and make a connection at that point. So that should be something that happens upon entry. For transfer students, it's a little bit different. Often your first schedule is done with your department chair, but at that point typically an advisor is assigned. If you don't know who your academic advisor is, the best thing to do is to talk to the department secretary and find out who it is, and if you don't have one, the secretary can work with the chair to make sure that you get assigned an advisor. But it's very important for students to understand that when you do have questions, that really is the person to go to. We are still in a time frame where we are running two separate programs where the certification requirements are vastly different. So you do not want to just be asking other students questions because their requirements may be different than yours.
Right.
So it's very important to go to someone that's knowledgeable. So your first line of defense should be your academic advisor. If your advisor can't address your questions, then you want to go to the department chair. If the department chair cannot answer your questions, then you would come to me as the dean, and we would make sure that your questions were answered. But a lot of times I get phone calls or emails to my office when someone has not first been to their academic advisor, and it's very difficult because that really is the role of the advisor, and we really encourage students to follow the chain of command and going to advisor, chair, then dean if you have an issue or a question.
I know my advisor has helped me through my 4 years here at East Stroudsburg, so I don't know where I would be without her. But I know we address so many of these questions, but if a student has more questions about their program, and I know we talked about the chain of command, is there any other place they can go?
Absolutely. Again, your advisor is a great person to go to for questions, but the other place to go to for information is the college education website. There's all kinds of information about screening. All the links and applications for the clearances can be found there. There are tutorials to use TK20 if you have questions about how to use TK20. That's also on that website. Contact information for faculty is there. Program descriptions, course descriptions. There is just a wealth of information there. So that is a great resource to go to. And then, in fact, I would actually probably go there first before I even went to my advisor. And then if you can't figure things out from there, follow that chain of command of advisor, chair, and dean to get your questions addressed. But, I can't emphasize enough, if you're not sure about something, you really need to ask about it, because we don't want students taking courses that aren't appropriate, spending money they don't need to spend, taking the wrong test. It's real important that you have the right information. So we really do want you to ask those questions. And no question is a bad question if it's going to help you be successful.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you want to talk to your peers in the major, they can answer some questions too. I know that. So.
Right, but again, in terms of accuracy, especially with changing programs, it's good to get advice from your advisor. Your peers can certainly be helpful in giving you suggestions, particularly in terms of their experiences in preparing for the tests, those basic skills tests. They may be able to give you some guidance in terms of that, tell you a little bit about what they thought about the test, so they can be a good resource too. But again, you want to get the most valid information, and we really are here to support your success. So we encourage students to take advantage of all the resources that we have available.
Great.
So I'd like to thank both of you for joining me today and addressing these questions. And again, we would encourage you to make use of the resources that are on our website and take advantage of the faculty and staff that are available to help you if you have questions about teacher education at ESU.